braking?
Yeah, he's got brakes.
Are you braking?
I don't know.
Do you have brakes?
I guess they don't work.
They don't. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I was trying to stop him.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, your automotive colonic of clunkers. We're back here with the Pavarotti, and if you're not familiar with this car, this is my 1976 Camaro Rally Sport that originally belonged to my grandmother that has been lost to time since the early 90s and has been sitting abandoned ever since. I recovered it not long ago, and if you've been following my videos on it, we had to clean it up, remove the interior, and began the process of trying to get it started. However, I ran into a little bit of a problem. I had a cross-threaded spark plug, and then the starter, after it moved for a little bit, gave up again. So I was just kind of really discouraged. One of the problems that I have here, and I don't know if you can notice behind me, is that I got a lot of cars. And when it dawned on me that this was going to be a lot more work than I thought, I decided that maybe I should go focus on some other cars that were a lot easier to get out the door. So I've been working on another project in the garage. I got my Prelude. I've also done some house projects. And in the meantime, you guys have been giving me some really great feedback on what I can do to get this car running again. A lot of you have suggested that I should try using a spark plug thread chaser in order to retap this thread. I had some reservations about it because typically whenever I've used thread chasers, I've ended up with metal shavings going pretty much wherever I don't want them to go. But I really like the suggestion of coating the thing with grease in order to catch the metal shavings so that I can clean it out and not get metal shavings in the cylinders. Now, if I can get the spark plug fixed, we know that the starter is going to be my next problem because it's already frozen up on us and it may do it again. Now, if that happens, well, I've got a truck over there. And so I can just use that truck. And while it doesn't run very well, it only runs on 5 cylinders, that's going to be enough to pull this thing back into a more comfortable spot to work. Before I can even think about that, I need to fix the spark plug. Let's get under the hood and get going. The first thing I got to do is remove my cork. We're going to set that over there. I've got a couple of thread chasers. This one, here's the problem. This one looks to be close to the same size as the plug, but it's the wrong thread. This one looks like it's a little small, but it's the right thread. I do not recommend Amazon tools for any reason whatsoever, unless you want to waste money on the wrong tools. So we went to a good old AutoZone and picked up a thread chaser from there. As you could tell, someone has already bought this, used it, and returned it. But I'm glad they did because now I have one. So who would have guessed that the Amazon thread chaser would be complete garbage? Go ahead and leave a comment if you saw that coming from a mile away. It's like working on a fucking Japanese car. What the hell? Why is it so tight in there? You can fucking live. I mean, animals have been living in here, but for some reason, this one fucking spark plug can't even get my hands in. God damn. Come on, get on there. Okay, you're on there. Now, I'm gonna try to put a socket on there and it's gonna fall off. Here, I'll show you. Definitely on there. You see that? You see that? It's definitely on there. But as soon as I put this thing on there, it's gonna fall off. And it's out. It fell out. This is bullshit. Yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm getting too pissed off. We're gonna pull the fucking head because I'm not dealing with that. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I need a little bit of encouragement. Clearly, I'm not in a good headspace. So I'm gonna put a little bit of gas in this thing, see if I can get the stupid thing to pop off. I gotta show you this. So I poured it in up here and it came out down here. I think the carburetor gasket's a little leaky. Yeah, this might not start up at all. Well, I tried. We're not doing this today. The fact is that it's just too tight in that back spark plug. I cannot get the thread chaser in there. I can kind of get it to bite, but as soon as I touch it with a wrench, it just falls apart. It just falls off. And I'm just, I don't know. If you think you can do it, you are a better mechanic than me, and I freely admit it, and I have a huge amount of respect for you for your abilities, but I don't have that ability. I can do some pretty amazing things, but apparently I can't thread a spark plug in the back of a Camaro engine bay. I just can't. And even if I can, I lack the patience. I'm not willing to do it. Aside from that, we got the starter issue. We got it to crank over a few times, which was really cool, but then it just goes right back to grinding. So, you know, the answer to this, the right answer to this, is to get this car into the garage so that I can tear it down proper. Well, the day has finally arrived. Later today, my friends are coming over to help me move this Camaro into the garage. There's just a bit of a problem. You see, I have a, well, that's not really a problem, but over here, I've got a bit of a logistical issue. In addition to these, I've got two Preludes in the garage. So I need to move the two Preludes in the garage, I need to move the ID4, and I need to move the Wrangler. That car is, well, it's fine if my tenants don't need to go anywhere, so I'm going to need to make sure they don't need to go anywhere. Well, it's finally time to actually work on the Camaro. The first order of business is we got to get some air in that tire because we need to reduce the rolling resistance as much as possible. I've actually only got 2 guys coming over instead of 3. My friend Alex got sick, so he will not be able to help us, unfortunately. But I do have my wife here. She can probably help steer the car if I need to get out and push with the other guys. But we'll play that by ear. We'll see what happens. All right, we're close to 30. Let's check the other tires. Get as much air as we can out of this thing before I have to go recharge it. The next thing we want to do is to see if the starter is going to give us any help. Because if the starter will give us any help, that would be very helpful. You're probably watching this going, oh, you idiot, it's an automatic, it doesn't work that way. Well, I have disconnected the neutral safety switch, so it should work that way. I'm going to get a bucket, and that bucket is going to be our new driver's seat. All right, driver's seat is installed. Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, not even close. I don't know what I was thinking. You know what's less crappy than the Camaro seats? Well, probably equally crappy, but way less disgusting. It's a TR7 seat. It's also a lot closer, so I have to carry it a lot less distance. And it fits good enough for our purposes. Yeah, let's see. That'll be fine. It won't be great, but you really can't see shit. But I think that's a normal thing for this car. That is rough. All right. Nope. 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 It's probably just gonna keep doing this, honestly, guys. or else I would have had this car up in the garage a long time ago. Since the starter's a no-go, let's just go ahead and disconnect the battery. It's not gonna happen.
Is he braking?
I
don't know.
Do you have brakes?
I guess they don't work.
They don't. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
I was trying to stop him.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I put my foot in and nothing happened.
Yeah.
I did not hear that. Did you say stop?
I was saying stop. She was like, it's not working. Yeah.
Totally missed that.
One. One. Two.
Are you kidding me? Is this car really that heavy? Damn.
Put a rock behind you.
Wow.
I'm holding it in place.
Alba, put something in the tire.
I'm holding it.
Get on the other side of Dylan. Oh my god.
Hold on. One, two.
Well, as you can see, that didn't go so well. Turns out, this car is kind of a heifer. It weighs 3,400 pounds. I would not have guessed from looking at it. So, I didn't have enough people. Like I stated, I have friends, but I guess I don't have enough friends. And honestly, I don't think I could have put enough people on this car to roll it up this hill. So we decided to call it a day, and in the meantime, I came up with a plan to actually get this thing up here. So as you also saw, I started to explore some stupid ideas, really stupid ideas, like strapping this to either the Miata or even the Jeep and using the come along, but the come along is only like 4 feet long. I would have had to spend 10 years getting this thing up the hill. So after we embarked on that endeavor of stupidity, we kind of realized, hey, you know what I really need? I need a winch. So I bought a winch. This is a Apex winch from Harbor Freight, Badlands, Apex Badland 5500. So it's a 5,500 pound winch. It should be plenty good for any of my needs. And I've got a whole bunch of anchors and grade 8 bolts. And we're gonna put a winch in the ground and we're gonna drag it up this driveway using the winch. This is also a really nice upgrade for my garage because this is kind of a long-term solution. So once I get this thing unboxed, I'll show you what I intend to do with it. So if I put a winch here, obviously I'm going to have some issues with the grade of the ground and the curve of the garage, because this car has to come over to the right and then up. And if I put it here, it's not going to go out and to the left. It's going to go the shortest distance between 2 points. It's going to collide with that pillar there. So in order to resolve this, I want to mount the winch here, but I also want to mount it up here. And so if I can mount it somewhere close-ish to the front of the garage without being too far forward that it ruins the concrete, I could pull it up the driveway, up to a point, and then move it to the back and pull it the rest of the way. So I'm going to have 2 mounting plates here. This is going to connect to a 12-volt battery since it is basically a Jeep winch. And it has the added benefit of maybe even using it on my Jeep someday. Remember, it's only a stupid plan if it doesn't work. If it does work, I'm a genius. All right, here's what I got going on. So the winch, I got a bigger bracket. This is like the biggest bracket. It's totally overkill, but I'd rather have it be overkill going into the concrete than not have enough. So this winch is going to mount directly to the bottom of this here bracket. I I've driven the studs into the concrete. I had to elongate that hole a little bit. It was mostly there. You can see that they're not quite tight. I think that's going to be resolved once I put the sandwich plate in underneath, because when I mount the winch on here, I got to account for the height of this bolt head. So I need to have a sandwich plate that is at least as tall as this bolt and a lock washer. And I'm doing it up here first because I can, if this all works out, I'll be able to pull the car up to a point where I can bring my wife's car back in and I'm not blocking my tenants. So this was a lot of trial and error. I got the winch mounted to the plate and I got the bolts all mounted up. I ended up using wide, thick washers to give enough space to clear the bolts that I had put up underneath the plates into the apparatus over here. It's not ideal. I'm going to admit that. It's definitely not ideal. I would really like to have plates that just sandwich between the mounting plate and the concrete, but I can't seem to find steel plates anywhere. I think the next thing I want to do here is try to get power to this thing, because I want to try to do a test pull. We have the strap already hooked up to the car over there, so if I can get some power to this thing, get it moving back and forth, I can do just a very slight test pull. So the instructions specify that you need this socket lead in order to wire all this stuff up. It plugs into both the rocker switch and the handheld switch. And guess what? It's not in here. Well, when life gives you a lemon, buy a 12,000-pound winch to move it with. Unfortunately, Harbor Freight did not have a replacement for the winch that I bought, but they had a 12,000-pound winch, so he gave me a screaming deal on it because they could not match the one that I was returning. So I got an excellent deal on this, and now I can tow anything I want up this hill until the end of time. I could even winch my house up this hill if I wanted to. I mean, not really, but you know, you get the idea. This is way overkill for what I'm doing, but it is actually a lot easier. There's a lot fewer wires to figure out on this one, and the remote is wireless, so that makes moving the car up the hill so much easier, because I can be in the car, or at least be next to the car, next to the steering wheel, and I can hold the wheel, winch it, and chock the tires as I go up. So that's gonna make my life so much easier. So with a fair bit of stupidity, I went to connect this ground, and this nut fell inside this housing. So I had to take the bracket off of the concrete, remove the winch from the bracket, and disassemble the winch in order to get to that stupid fallen bolt nut, that stupid fallen nut. So that was really dumb. And then I tried to put this billet piece on in the front to try to smooth out the rope from the edges of the bracket, but the bolts weren't long enough, and I was having a really tough time holding in the nut and threading the bolt with the stupid thing on, and I just gave up. I'm going to assume this was designed in Germany. God damn, so much stupidity. Anyway, I have this thing on free spool right now. I have pulled it out a little bit, connected it to the battery. The battery is off, disconnected from the winch. So next up, we're going to try to make this work. It worked. It worked. Okay, that's exciting. Wow, it's fast too. Okay, so I'm going to move you around. I'm going to reposition the camera, hook this thing up to the tow strap, and give this a little test tug. Okay, that was a success overall, but let's take a look at some opportunities for improvement. So the nylon rope itself took quite a bit of abuse because it was at a bad angle and it was getting caught on the edge of this thing here. You see some of the nylon even ground off. And then it got all pinched up, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is fine for this one time, but I don't want to do that again because this will not last very long if I keep doing this. I need to put that thing on because that will help smooth it along as it winds up. I know that was very important to have, but I need a longer bolt and it wasn't cooperating and I was getting pissed off. I wanted to make sure that the setup overall was going to work. So now that I know, I can improve that. Second, I probably want to get some kind of roller. I don't think there's anything that I can anchor into the ground, but maybe if there is something that I can put a little farther forward in the concrete, like pretty much right where this wood is right here, something like right there, that will help control its angle as it rolls in. Aside from that, I think this was really successful. Well, I wish the weather were nicer, but sometimes you just got to work with what you got. I'd like to pull the car up the rest of the way today because, well, for one, I'm tired of looking at it here, but two, I gotta get things back in order. This is a little bit nuts. I'm either gonna get cited by the city or by insurance pretty soon. Inside the garage here, I've got the winch mounted at the back of the garage. Put things back a little bit more complete. I got the headpiece on here. I do not have rollers to mount at the front of the garage. That'd be really nice, and that's probably the last thing that I need for this setup is a set of rollers right here, because that I can not only help guide it, you know, from there into the garage, but I could also put it on risers, like a plate, sandwich plate on risers, if I needed to bring it higher off the ground, just in case, like in the future, if I'm pulling a car from way down there. But right now, let's just focus on the task at hand. Why is it going sideways? What are we gonna hit? Nothing. We're gonna hit my creeper. Turn that. How far in are we? We're officially in. That is so cool. Well, now I got to move it over there. But that is not a problem for today. There is one last thing I'm going to do today. Something tells me this car needs it. So I'm pretty much going to use an entire box of this stuff at the end of every day for the next 6 days until I'm convinced that everything in this car is dead. So I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to put it underneath the car, or else I totally would. I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to set this thing and run away. Well, here it is, where it's going to sit for the next God knows how long, and I can't think of a better way of ending this video. You know, we set out with a stated goal of getting this thing started and running so they could drive it in here. And unfortunately, things turned out to be a little more complex than I thought. On top of the spark plug issue, the starter, we also learned that it didn't have any brakes. And so rather than killing my friends, I decided to get a winch. And that turned out to be a really good idea because that empowers me to do a whole lot more things later on. And so now that it's in the garage, I still want to continue with my stated goal. I still want to get this thing to start and run before I start doing any kind of restoration efforts or any kind of customizations. I really still want to hear this thing run the way it did when my grandma owned it. I really do. But now that it's in the garage, I can take my time and I can do it right because I don't like cutting corners. You've seen this with my other cars, like my Project Prelude. I don't like cutting corners. I don't like half-assing it. And I especially don't want to do that with a car that I have such an attachment to, and an attachment that will only grow stronger the more I work on it. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't like what you see, leave a comment anyway. Maybe you think this was a lot easier than I made it out to be. If that's you, if you think you can show me how it's done, you have an open invitation. Come on over, we'll crack a beer, I'll order a pizza, and we'll wrench on this car. And you can show me how it's done yourself. Or make a YouTube video out of it. That's another idea. Make a YouTube video out of it, share it on my channel. I will support you, I will celebrate you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.